What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? T to the M to the I, D. Yes, we have another video, and yes, it is true. Nikon USA has sent T-Mid a product, and guess what? I'm not even going to try to hold it off and tease it, but I'm going to show you what Nikon brought me, and of course I already unboxed it, so I'm just going to give it to you raw what it is. Now what I want to do following that though is I want to go over just a few things in terms of how this process went, how this opportunity even came about, and the importance of networking and collaborating, so that if you find yourself in this situation, if you find yourself as a creator wanting to seek some of these opportunities or just work with other brands potentially, always take this advice into account. So without even hesitating, here we have the box. Here we have the box. Okay, now let's see. You see what this is. They sent me the Nikon ZFC. Now, I know you might be thinking, oh man, it's not the Nikon Z9. It's not, you know, the Z8, right? That would be pretty cool, right? But they did give me a few options, right? So of course they told me they didn't have any longer lenses, you know, some of the birding type lenses or wildlife photography type lenses that have been coming out, but they did have some other interesting ones like the 70-200, which I use a lot and will probably fit me, but I decided to go with this. And the reason why I decided to go with this is because I have not tried any of their other Z cameras that would kind of be a beginner type camera, and I like the aesthetic of this. Like, how cool is this? I really want to see what type of images I'm able to get with this, and so I went with the Nikon ZFC. And going into how this process came about, the terms, conditions. Now, okay, I don't get to keep this. That is a big disclaimer, but I do get to keep it for several months. And so in that time, I'm able to make YouTube content based on this camera, in which you never know how many people may be searching for images for this camera, maybe looking for a camera to just get into photography. With this, it kind of has like a film aesthetic if you kind of look at it. So you never know, you know, people in that phase where they like, you know, film photography, want to get into digital, so could want something in between. But that's why I went with this. Now I do have to return it, like I said, but the great thing about this program is that I can get something else that I would like to try out. And so having a relationship like that is like second to none, because now I have things from Nikon that I can try out fresh. And this is actually like fresh out the box. I had to pop the seal on the lens and everything. So shout out to Nikon for supplying me with this camera to do some YouTube content and really test out this. So content with this coming very soon. Okay, now how did this opportunity come about? Let's get into that. Now, you never know who a person is, right? And if we fast forward a few months back, I was just in WPPI, and WPPI, all of the brands are there. Unfortunately, some dropped out. We know how COVID has plagued a lot of the events that are going around the world, but luckily Nikon was there. And I went to Nikon, and when I went to Nikon, I went with a lot of baggage, because I had to let them know how we felt as people that are watching Sony and Canon and companies like that kind of take over in terms of having creators or influencers market their cameras. And, you know, just as Nikon creators, we don't feel like we have that person. Like, of course you can give that camera to somebody else, but if they are known for a certain brand, it's kind of like they are known for that brand. So while it may help, at the end of the day, the person will say, well, they really shoot Canon. So, you know, letting them shoot the Nikon for, you know, a few months, it's like, but they're really a Sony user. Okay, so that's how I kind of felt, and so I talked to them about that. Now, I ran into one particular individual, and mind you, this is my first time talking to Nikon at all. I ran into this individual and they just gave me their card and they said, oh, you do YouTube? I'm like, yeah, I do YouTube. And so he's like, okay, I'm gonna take down your YouTube. He's like, here's my card, you know, keep in touch. And me personally, I'm thinking like, okay, I don't really think anything of it at that point in time. I don't know who this person is, but we fast forward, collaborating. It is important to collaborate as much as possible. I did a collaboration while I was out in Las Vegas, and that got featured by Nikon, right? It just so happened that that same person that I ran into at WPPI reached out to me and said, hey man, congratulations. I saw that you had got featured on Nikon. And I'm like, wow, okay. So the connections are just running rapidly. So everything is like coming back full circle. So we started to talk more through email. And so it's like, okay, you know, starting to understand, talking other type things. So I'm like, okay, this is going in a great direction. And so this is why I'm saying relationships are key, and don't underestimate who a person is, and don't judge a book by its cover. Do not do it. It can leave you shortchanged. So what I ended up doing was, I was just curious as to if Nikon had some type of program where you could, as a creator, you know, reach out, try their products, or some type of thing like that. And so I asked them, and he immediately responded back and said, oh yeah, we have that. Like, what are you looking for? And so I gave a few things, and then he told me what they have and what they don't have. And that was pretty much direct. Locked me in and told me, okay, we have these things. What are you looking for? I said, you know what? I would love to have the 70 to 200 because I use that the most in the studio, but I said, let me switch it up and try something different. And hence I got the ZFC. Wow. But I got the ZFC. Now, when I say it is important to network, you need to get out and network. And obviously, we know that there is a trend between views and subscribers. And so I say that to say, no matter how big or small you are, if your work is solid, people will take notice to that. So don't worry about the numbers. Do not worry about the numbers. And that has been a testament to me just from my experience and journey through YouTube. Like, if people want you to try their stuff, they will find you, they will reach out to you, and that it is as simple as that. If you make good content, people know that you make good content, and you have to understand that numbers come. It's definitely a journey. I've heard that so many times. I'm just like, okay, a journey, but it is a journey. It's like the content is there, the numbers will come. So just kind of sit back and enjoy the creating piece of the journey and let everything fall into place. So that is what we have from Nikon, and it is a big deal because we stress the fact that a lot of things like this don't really trickle down, because you have people like myself, and you know, I'm a Nikon user, but I don't consider myself a Nikon fanboy, but I do love the Nikon brand. And so we have people like myself that use Nikon faithfully, right? And so it's nice to see Nikon listen and hear us out for the people who are really down and putting these cameras to work and putting them in all different scenarios and really testing the dynamics and the range of the camera to really give our honest opinion, versus somebody might have it for a month, somebody might have it for a week, and then, you know, the famous one is somebody that unboxes the camera the same day they got it and then give you a review on how they feel about it. It's like, you haven't even put the lens on there, but you got an opinion already, right? So I just want to share that information with you. Make sure you network. Like these conferences are key. If you are not going to conferences, you need to get out and go to these conferences. I can't stress that enough. If you are not collabing, myself, I'm like collabing everywhere. I am like willing to go to other places to collaborate, because that is how important that piece is. So make sure you collaborate, make sure you network, make sure you are out and, you know, engaging with people. If your sole goal is to grow as a business and things like that, you have to do these things. Like, nothing is going to be easy at all. It's a lot of work that goes behind growing these businesses that make six figures. And even for myself on the YouTube platform, it's a lot of work that goes behind growing these channels. And, you know, when you see these channels with these big numbers, you have to respect the work that they put in to get there. And I'm learning that like first-handedly, even at the point that I'm at. So I appreciate you all watching my content, supporting, commenting, and engaging with the content. Especially love to see who is watching my content. And so I just wanted to share with you all, you know, no matter what you shoot, you know, it's important for these brands to look at everyone and, you know, let everyone be able to test the products and give their feedback, so that other people who are consuming it can hear different aspects and don't really get too many bias. Or if they feel like someone is biased, then they can go to someone else that, you know, may be true or have, you know, a better opinion and from their side. So that's what I wanted to talk to you all about. Look forward to some content from T-Mid with the Nikon ZFC.